Well, good morning, guys. We have the fun beginning today. Hopefully, you guys have been doing your inner work. Hopefully. Otherwise, good luck. No, kidding. There's going to be so many more. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. There's going to be a lot more healing modalities coming. As far as like ways to empty up your subconscious, because ultimately, I'm going to break some things down today. And again, I know that in this class, you guys are not necessarily learning anything for the very first time, but hopefully the way it's being presented is helping you open and expand your horizons as far as your journey here, your vision quest, right? And that's really what we're going to be beginning. I did a workshop. It was really interesting. I've done a series of workshops that have been basically leading up to where we are right now in our incarnation. And the first one that I journeyed on was warrior training. And warrior training was the workshop that I used to get myself in alignment to create the world tour that I put on, my Quantum Revolution tour. And that was when I really found out that I had a narcissistic mindset, and I really had to dig down deep into myself and learn what my fear personalities were and take a lot of responsibility for, being the toxic one at times. It's like we see ourselves, your conscious awareness is always going to see you as the hero, but I did my best and I was so helpful. And, I'm doing this. It's like, there's a part of us that really sees the goodness in us. And so therefore, when our life goes wrong or relationships tank, we tend to play the victim a lot. And so if you guys have access to warrior training, it might be a good idea to go back and look. Because again, like there's been so many of my bodies of work that have been leading up to this, that if you are new to me and you've been on your spiritual quest, then this is all resonating. But there might be pieces where you need to, or want to, need is not a really great word, want to go examine certain aspects of yourself that you may not fully be able to embody yet. Because ultimately, for you to look at your reality in non-duality, you have to be clear on who you are. Okay, so warrior training was about discovering that you have a snitch and a narcissistic part of you. And then from warrior training, we did, what else was next after? I'm not sure if it was Vision Quest or not, but we did another one. And then there was Vision Quest, Master of Love, Quantum Fitness, Alchemy, Non-Duality. All right. And so in our non-duality year, you guys are going to get the next body of work that's coming through me called the Imagineering. Okay. So you're going to learn how to do your Imagineering work. You have heard a million times probably by now from every new age author, every guru, every self-help book, that your abundance is your birthright. Okay. Now, I only think that 10% of you truly believe that. And the reason why is because you have yet to see the goods, like you have yet to see this abundance, but you're looking at abundance through the eye of economic money. And abundance is not economics. All right. The abundant birthright that you have, that is inside of you, is, drum roll, your imagination. That is your abundance, because your ability to step into the second coming of Christ, which is what you are doing here, is the embodiment, is you are here to awaken the Christed consciousness within. All right. Imagination is the Christed consciousness. I imagine my nation, an army of magicians. Okay. That is what your abundance is. Abundance in the ability to imagine your new world. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Okay. So if you're like, when is my inheritance coming? Right? I keep hearing this birthright thing and from everywhere. The prophets of the 20s and 30s, Einstein, everybody has said this. And you're going, yeah, I want to believe that. But your abundance definition has been incorrect if you haven't been using your imagination to create wealth. Hello? All right. Now, the reason why I haven't taught this earlier is because I have been one of the most powerful manifestors I have known. Okay. I was actually looking over my list of like things I wanted to, manifest in this lifetime. And I have manifested every single one of them except a TED Talk, okay, and the soul partnership, right? That's right here, okay, and a couple of other little things. Now, everything else, millions of dollars, had it, okay. My kids got them, okay, like a successful career that I invented, that I made up. You guys, I made up my own job. I made my own school. Okay. I got my own school accredited. Like it didn't exist. My job didn't exist, but I didn't know how to do anything else. So I created this for myself. But the reason why I have not pushed manifestation on you guys over these years is because of what I have experienced with my own manifestations. And that is that I can manifest like nobody's business, but it's bittersweet. It's tainted. It ends up breaking. It ends up rejecting me or abandoning me, or I end up rejecting and abandoning it. All right. The sustainability of my ability to manifest has been horrific. Okay. So this is why I had to experience this, what I call an ego death this year. And again, I've taught you from the beginning, we're not here to kill the ego, but we are here to resurrect the Christ within us and have that be the leadership that is moving and breathing from the body. All right. Like the ego cannot be in the front seat of this vehicle and you make it in a new world. Like it's not going to happen, because the ego desires are from a state of starvation and separation. Your ego desires that are coming from starvation and separation and need will not at all get you into the kingdom of heaven whatsoever. And when I say kingdom of heaven, guys, what I mean is this new heaven on earth that you were here, that you were planted on planet Earth to basically give birth to through your subconscious mind and make it conscious. Like that's your journey. You think you're here to save the world and put your hands on people and teach people how to do this. You're not. You're here to imagine yourself into the embodiment of the Christed consciousness. So your purpose is to imagine your own world. That is your purpose. Your purpose is not to be a healer. The reason you're a healer is because you were sick. Okay. The reason you're a teacher is because you're a student. If you look up your birth name, it's going to tell you everything you need to know about your specific heart's desires. Your heart's desires were basically implanted. Did you guys know the name Mary? Okay. The Virgin Mary defined means seed. That's what the name Mary means, seed. And virgin means pure. Okay. So when I've been manifesting with all my seeds and my heart's desires over these years, they haven't been pure. They have not been pure. They've been laced with pain, heartbreak, abandonment, rejection, denial, suffering, envy, loss, right? Guilt, shame, and all kinds of other stuff, humiliation, resentment. They've all been one of the hidden ingredients in all of my manifestations that make it have a bad aftertaste. And then what do? We throw it out. And then what happens when you throw out this and you throw out that and you realize $1 million doesn't make you happy, and you realize that, that people are not who you think they are and places aren't as great as you thought they'd be? What happens? Well, you start to lose desire. Okay. And that's when you have to have an ego death. Because once you lose your heart's desire, you are basically a zombie. Okay. You basically, even if you started off as a shepherd, you're going to become a sheep. Because once you stop desiring, okay, even though Buddha talks about the lack of desire, once you build your new world in your imagination, how I'm about to start teaching you guys today, you do lose desire because you're living as if. All right. Like once you actually recognize your heart's desires and say this, now it's my job to make it pure. I can make it pure through the vision quest, through master of love, through quantum fitness, through biohacking, through whatever other modalities that I have. But I'm not going to start building my world on haunted Indian ground. Okay. Like we've seen those movies. We know what happens if we do that. And this is why I have not told you guys my exact manifestation process, because I know you'd go do it. And you probably have in your own way. And because you are a powerful manifestor, you're manifesting 24 hours a day, regardless if you know you are or not. But I mean, I'm talking about like ruthlessly creating. I mean, like blinders on and living in total delusion of your fantasy. You have done this, but look what it manifested. So then this is where your trust issues come with yourself, right? This is where you start asking for guidance. You start going, is this my soulmate? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Should I go into business with this person? Because you're going, I can't trust my own desires because look what happens. The only reason you cannot trust your desires is because they were not pure. That's it. You've done nothing wrong, except you forgot to purify your own desire. It's dirty, right? It's like, ew. It's like, you know, when you are a child and you have a heart's desire to dance or to be a teacher or to save the world or whatever it was, and it becomes dented and you know, contaminated and virused and infected. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be your heart's desire. It's just going to feel a lot different when you begin to manifest it, because you're manifesting it from lack instead of manifesting it because I am. All right. So I'm going to put a video that I made a while ago, probably last summer, where I had my chakra balls that we use in our quantum fitness program as our tarot cards. And I gave you guys this expression of these 7 chakras that are out in front of you. And when all 7 chakras are in alignment, you are literally living as the Christed consciousness. Okay. All in unity, all wanting the same things, all have different unique jobs, working in unity, right? And we are in a 7 year. So this is a great time to master this. All right. So thinking about the first chakra, the root chakra. All right. You started out as, I am, and I have a name, and I'm real, and I am. And very soon, by the time you were 7, you are leading your entire existence as, I'm not allowed. I am not. In 7 years, you go from I am to I am not. So if I am not, and I go to my sacral, I am not creative. I am not worthy of love. I am not good at this. Well, then what are you going to demonstrate in the solar plexus? You're going to be shy. You're going to be introverted. You're going to be cautious. You're going to be worried. You're going to be fearful. And you're maybe only 9 years old right now. So then if I am not now allowed to be here, to be alive, to be me, and I'm not good enough for anybody or talented enough to truly create anything, and I'm shy in my demonstration, what do you think my heart's going to be? Right? Because now, see, now we're moving up. My heart is going to hurt. My heart is going to long for the I am within me, not for the soulmate, not for the $1 million. My heart is longing for my I am. That is what I am searching for. And I'm going to search for it in you, and writing this book, and taking these healing classes, and getting really, really sick. So maybe I'll find it that way, and getting really, really broke. So I'll find it that way, but I'm going to find it because my heart is telepathic and is connected to every other heart in the universe. And from my need to find my I am, I will seek it from all this disconnection. Okay. Now let's talk about the way you speak. The way you speak, what you speak, how you speak. The greatest fear, like just subjective fear in USA is public speaking, third chakra. Well, if I am not, why would I want to speak about it? Even if I believe maybe I am, I don't know how to express myself, because this is your expression. This is also how you are received. Whether you are seen or heard or safe or loved is actually going to come through here. This is also where all of your time is. Time, I'm running out of time. I've lost time. I don't have enough time. Okay. Now, think about all this I am not. Now, we come up here. What do you think you're going to see or not see? Right? Because this is where you see the unseen and have faith and walk as if, and that shall manifest. That is your third eye. Some of you are like, I'm not clairvoyant. You're choosing that 100%. Well, if I am not me, then of course I don't have access to the gifts that you may have. Or maybe I do see and I don't want to see. Okay. So there's some more wounding in there. And then of course, once you get to the crown, you've either got beef with God, you're secretly mad at God, even though you're working for him, or you seriously believe it's another entity outside of you. But if your root said I am, then your crown would be like, yep, we are. See, I am real, and I create my reality, and I demonstrate my reality, and I love my reality, and I speak my reality, and I see my reality, and I know that I am God, or I am not. And every one of your manifestations has proved that to you at the end. Now, the good news here is look at what you've been able to manifest with this disconnection. Look at what you have been able to create in this separation. Can you imagine the ideas of walking on water and turning, water into wine? Don't seem that far-fetched when you've been able to do what you've been able to do in your separation. Now it's like, well, yeah, if I was all connected, can you imagine what I could do? Well, now you're entering in the era of the superhuman. Every single one of the quantum biologists are talking about this right now. If you move into full alignment of thyself and know thyself and are connected to thyself, and you imagineer your world as if you were that 5-year-old little kid who was working with time and space for the very first awareness, then you will, and beautifully, 80% imagination, 20% action will not only manifest your complete purification of your own Christed consciousness into a reality that fits your namesake. Okay, it fits your namesake because you chose your name. Your name is your I am to the world. All right, I've got a lot of students who've changed their names. Right? Well, you better go clean up that story first before you step into your new name, right? Because whatever your name was, you chose it, even though, like, seriously, for years, when I would hear the name Jessie, like my mom, like nails on a chalkboard, like, and that's why I'm like, when I grow up, everyone's gonna call me Jessica, okay? But my true name on my birth certificate is Jessi, because my dad wanted it to be Jessica, my mom wanted it to be Jessie. And so they met in the middle with an I instead of an E, just in case. So I got to choose, and I have no middle name except a C. And so I truly feel like, even though they were duking it out, I needed to be Jessie to go into the separation, but anytime I could go into Jessica, and they both mean the exact same name in the Latin transition. They have the same meaning, okay? So as I have been diving down into the purification of my Mary Virgin seeds here that I have in my womb or in my subconscious, metaphorically, then what I've been doing this entire year, basically, when I really started kicking my own behind in warrior training, was I know that I am a powerful creator, but I don't want to keep adding this freaking pepper into my pumpkin pie. And so I'll manifest something. It will absolutely go to shit, excuse my language. And then I go back to the drawing board looking for the tainted, infected, viral programming that is somewhere stuck in my desires. Okay, is this making sense so far? And so these classes that you guys have been sitting in with me over year after year after year, this was always 100% my intention, because In 2009, I heard from Yahshua himself that the Christed consciousness shall walk the earth in 2023, if thou chooses. So not only are you in the right time, you are in the right place, and you have the right desire, you have the right name, you have the right place. I mean, you have everything that you need right here now. Matter of fact, the fertilizer that you're sitting in is exactly what you need to fertilize and give birth to the desires that you've always wanted, that maybe have been ruined over time, but you're going to start basically back in your I am, and you're going to go in, and this is what I have never yet done, except I've been doing this last 6 months basically, and going through absolute hell to clean out the baseboards here, okay, is to reconstruct my 7 chakras from an I am space, which means that not one of your chakras can be an I am not. Otherwise, you're going to get pepper in your pumpkin pie. So alignment has always been what we were seeking. All right. And it's not going to come from this modality or that modality. It's going to come from everywhere and it's going to require all of your arsenal, which means you're going to use every ounce of your toolbox here. And that doesn't mean just my work. That means any body of work that you have stumbled across and utilized, you'll probably be using it this year to purify your imagination, because all you are is the imagination of consciousness. You imagined yourself here, okay? And you will imagine yourself to the kingdom of heaven. Your reality will not look like anything you've ever seen before if you can get these 7 chakras in alignment, which means that you won't even see the political structure because it won't exist in your world. You won't have economic issues because you don't have that situation going on in your chakras, right? But see, if you're going to pluck from anywhere out here, then you're going to get the essence of out here in here. Anything you season in, well, I kind of like this. Well, you want to make sure that that's not coming from lack, scarcity, or hunger. It needs to be pure demonstration of spirit. That's what desire is. Desire is not, I want my partner because I'm alone. I want my partner because I am so amazing. I can't wait for them to see this. Okay. And I want my partner because I want to see another person who is like me. It's the playmate versus the emptiness. When you are manifesting a partner from an empty space, you'll go and get somebody empty. Trust me, I know. I've done it several times. No, this time's going to be different. I'm not empty. I'm completely fulfilled. I have this, I have that. Nope. Every single time. I told you guys 2 sessions ago that my biggest mistake has been settling. And I will tell you why. Because when you start to get in alignment, there's booby traps. Okay. You are literally on a vision quest, and there are built-in booby traps that if you start getting too close to your heaven on earth, there is built-in fake oases. Okay. So, you know, when you're like the idea of you're like so thirsty and you're in the desert, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, there's water. Okay. But it's not, because what it's trying to do is set you up for it to look easy, because this ain't easy. This ain't. I'm going to tell you right now, this ain't going to be easy at all. And I'm going to tell you all the booby traps that I have fell into this last year, so you don't have to fall into them. Okay. Because what's going to happen is as soon as you start revving up that engine of heart's desire, you're like, yes, you're going to start seeing evidence. Okay. First 2 things you're going to see: someone else get what you want. Okay. That's going to trigger comparison and envy. You got to clear that out. Okay, good. Thank you for showing me that I don't truly believe that I can have that, because you wouldn't be envious if there wasn't an I am can't have that. So if envy pops up or comparison pops up, you don't want to keep manifesting that, because you're going to manifest that with envy and lack. Thank you for showing me that I'm not in alignment. This is how we use the devil at its own game. Okay. Higher self will use everything out there for you if you play this game correctly, because you will be playing out there until you create this. You're going to be living in whatever house you're living until you build your own. All right. But do not think that it is going to come right to you and it's going to be exactly what you want. It's going to feel like that. You're going to get the job opportunity right when you start manifesting a job. You're going to get somebody who says they're going to help you right when you start looking. And what you want to do is you want to check in with yourself and you want to say, am I or am I not? Okay? Because if I am not and this person is showing up, then they're not either. Because I do not attract what I want, I attract what I am. All right? You're not going to start getting the real, true heaven on earth until you have done this for days and days and days. And you can hold your new world for 51% of your day for 3 weeks. So anything that comes to you before that is a test, a challenge, a booby trap. Okay? And so this is where I have been teaching my divine feminine, slow down to speed up. Because we're like, yes, we'll take the first help we get. We take the first option we get. Matter of fact, someone who's kind of sort of like, nope, maybe, yeah. And then you start thinking about having some relationship with that person because they exist. Okay, that's how in starvation light workers are. All right, we're so deprived that we see something that looks like heaven sent and we dive all in it. All right. And this is where you're going, wow, evidence of my dreamland showing up. Good. But I'm going to study this before I actually start relating to it. I'm going to keep that separation of my third dimensional world there and keep my loyalty to my reality I'm creating because it's not sort of kind of perfect. Ladies, we know we will buy the house because of the kitchen and we will be like, oh yeah, that has potential. And then 7 years later, you do nothing, right? But you bought the house because of the kitchen instead of waiting an extra 2 weeks for the whole thing to show up at the price point you could afford. All right? Because we can't wait. Ladies, we're super guilty at this because we live at the end anyways. We've already got it decorated and moved in. And so when we don't even sit and decide whether it's perfect or not. It's good enough. It's good enough. I'll take it. Okay? And men are kind of like, well, that's going to be a lot of work. And maybe I won't take it because of that. So men don't jump because of what it's going to cost to fix the rest of the rooms. And women will jump because of one room in the house that's got potential. Right? And that's the divine masculine wounding showing up. Ultimately, it all goes down to I am not. So what you're doing right now with all your biohacking and all your grieving and all your anger release and all your letting go and surrender is you're getting back to your I am. See, I am is not lacking anything. So when you start building your world, it cannot come from what you are lacking. It has to come from the blueprint of your soul itself. Hear me. Your I am, your new world we're building, it's your blueprint of your soul, not what your soul is lacking. Which means that if I was going to say, what does your soul look like as a house? That would be the house. What does your soul look like as a car? That would be the car. What does your soul look like partnered with the perfect person? That would be your soulmate. You see the difference? Because what we do is we think of, I got to get this house that makes me feel like my higher self. I got to get this car because I can't go fast and I'm stuck and trapped everywhere. So this car has to go fast. All right. I need this person because I feel so lonely that I can't express or take care of myself all the way. You see? So what are we going to get? And this is where you have to start getting really truthful for your intentions before you start manifesting things in 5D, because although you have to build the kingdom of heaven, your oasis, your dream world, your Eden, right? You're here to build the entire frame with its people, places, and things in it, its own economic structures, the way you say it goes. You're in a holographic universe where you're supposed to write code, not play someone else's virtual reality. You're a code writer. The code, and Greg Braden has an amazing video on this. They literally broke down the DNA of the human being. Everything is mathematical. It spells I am God. Your DNA spells I am God, mathematically. And here you are like, how am I going to pay my bills? Right? Talk about discord. Okay. So you're literally getting a drip. You're getting the breadcrumbing. You're in the slavery cycle. You're in the incarnation loop over and over again, not until you do right. You will be in this loop on purpose by your choice so that you can become the Christed one. Christed means anointed. I'm not talking about Christianity. I am talking about you choosing thyself and living as the image of God, which is creation. That's what it is. And in the beginning, there was the Word. And this is why I am so hard on you guys with language this year, because every word is spelling. Just like Christians are reading about the Mother Mary and the purity of herself. It means seed, okay? Literally, Adam and Eve. Adam is the conscious mind, okay? Eve is the subconscious mind. Adam, let's look at that word a little bit different. Atom, okay? Percolating energy, awaiting for form, right? Eve, we break it down. It's the definition of epigenetics. All right, now we've just made the Bible scientific proof, okay? And what's in the way? Separation, right? Envy, lust, greed. What in the Bible separated Adam and Eve from living in Eden was their own separation of their God spark within. Okay. And again, I don't know enough about the Bible truthfully to like be able to like give you the name and the page and the date and who said what, but maybe I will. Maybe once I get every single thing I want, maybe I'll go up there and download that from the cloud, because it's in the cloud, you guys. I don't get any of this information from anywhere else except the cloud. All right. And that is the quantum field of potential, aka Akashic Records. And I would rather get it from up there than have to spend my time here reading books, okay? Because that would take me forever, and I ain't got time for that, all right? So your job is to get into alignment with your 7 chakras as the I am, lacking nothing, okay? Need, want, is. Want comes from, I desire to express that which I am. When a child says, I want to play, it's because the soul is play. I want to dance because the soul is dance. I want to sing because the soul is sing. I want to taste because the soul is expression and experience and adventure. Anytime you want to do things from an empty place, it isn't want, it's need. And when you are in need and you're like, I need to manifest $1 million, you are so far from manifesting $1 million that I couldn't even tell you how many timelines away from that you are. Okay? Because what you're going to manifest is the pain of not having $1 million. That's what you're going to manifest, because that's what you are. You will never manifest what you need. Okay? But if you get into alignment of being the I am, then all you have to do is express what you are, regardless of what you see. You know, you can live in the kingdom of heaven here, but it's going to take one thing that is your birthright, that you are abundant in, and that is your imagination. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, was I a child who was allowed to be in my imagination, or was I in trouble for being my imagination? Because some of you are going to have to go through imagineering training, because some of you couldn't imagine anything. You can't hold a vision. You can't have a movie playing in your head. Like, if you can't literally go into an alternate reality right now of someplace you choose and smell and feel and taste and touch, all imagineering, then you might want to take some imagineering classes first before you start building the kingdom of heaven. Because what you're going to do is you're going to try to copy something. Well, I'm not a good Imagineer, so let me copy. And now you're plagiarizing someone else's I am. And you want to be as original as you can, because that's going to be the closest thing to your unique soul. So creating things that don't yet exist is going to be the mastery of this project. Okay. Now, I don't mean that you can't muse off of things, like the essence of certain things, but like, I've got to have this house and this guy and this time and this. You are literally plagiarizing someone else's, and it's coming from lack of creativity. So your sacral chakra is going to have to go through a art program. This is why we do art therapy in quantum fitness, because the artist is all of you. Some of you are like, I'm not artistic. Well, then you're not going to be able to create the kingdom of heaven. Okay. If you can create a straight line on a piece of paper, you're an artist, because you just imagined a straight line and you drew it. That's how easy this is. What is the difference between imagination and disassociating? Okay. First of all, I want you to disassociate. Okay. You're going to disassociate, but not from avoidance. So when you disassociate from your life, okay, and you go drink or you go watch TV, I'm talking about the difference between checking out and checking in. All right. So what is the thing that breaks up a marriage? Lack of loyalty, cheating, miscommunication, no communication, and emotional unavailability. That's usually what breaks up a marriage. And that's what has broken up you and you. Okay. So you're going to be disassociating when you don't like what you see. But what I'm saying is you're going to disassociate or unattach from the third dimensional reality, and you are going to go completely into your inner world where your blueprint is, okay, where your drawings are, where your visions are. All right. So again, that's a loose term for what I think what you're meaning is, well, I'm disassociating from reality, but you're also avoiding it. Okay. And when you avoid it and you don't have somewhere else to go intentionally, then you're going into the void, and you're by through attachment. See, I'm not going, oh my God, I hate what I see. I'm like, no, thank you. I prefer this. See, the thing is when we're doing this imagineering work, it can't come from lack or suffering or judgment of what you're seeing out here. This is why we have to do so much karma work first. Grief release, anger release. If I'm angry about what I see, don't start building your kingdom of heaven. Okay. If you are in rejection of what you see out there, don't start building your kingdom of heaven, because you're going to bring that rejection in. Now, when you're disassociating with, and this is what most light workers do, is they disassociate from the third dimension, but what the disassociation is fear-based. Okay. It's judgment-based and it's fear-based. Now, if I'm coloring a picture next to another 5-year-old, and she's like, I'm going to make a dinosaur. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to make a dragon. I'm not disassociating from hers. I'm just going, I choose something else, but that's very cool too. Right? Because you have to understand this. When I say army of magicians, who do you think built this place? Okay. And who keeps you under the spell? You may not agree with anything, but you are still very much in their imagination until you go into your own. So disassociation is actually going to be part of our program, but you're not going to go into the void, into the food, into the alcohol, into the TV, into a twin flame for 6 months, into a new job. You're going to go into your new world, and you're going to live there as if you live there. You're going to say, no, thank you to that story. But hey, if that works for you, and you're not going to have any charge on it, because if you have charge, you're attached. Okay. You're going, well, what if I can't bring my son in the new world? Then you got too much guilt and shame. You need to go clean that up, because you know that they would be here. If you're creating a reality, they're coming. Okay. And way better version of them. Okay. I mean, this is why you have to go through Imagineering training, you guys, because you're like, well, this is irresponsible for me to stop looking at my bills. No, it's almost like the analogy I like to give is when you move into a better house. Okay. You still have to live in your old house for a while. You go through the motions. Okay. You still clean the toilet and you still brush your teeth in the house. You're not damning it. You're not condemning it. You're not kicking it. Hopefully you are probably letting it go a little bit, and it will start to decompose on you. Things will start to go wrong with it. So you actually might have to be a little bit more grateful in the end before you move out of the new house into the new house. But all you want to do is move into this new house. You've already got it decorated. This house is like subpar now. Your job is not to hate where you are, but to be grateful that you have a place to exist until you finish building your dream home. Okay. And it's like, that's the analogy. It's like, this is someone else's imagination. This is a giant hologram held together by imagination of magicians. Very clever. Okay. And they use language and frequency and vibration and lower vibrations to keep you stuck to their story. Because as long as they keep you in need, you're going to try to figure out what's happening next over here. Who else is president? What is our money system right now? Okay, let me contribute, right? Or you could be like, no, I'm here for this. I'm the second coming of Christ. And so I'm going to resurrect myself. And through my 3 days of resurrection, I am going to become the kingdom of heaven, right? And sin means separation in nature. Nature means name. So all the sins that Jesus died on the cross for you, right, is literally been your egoic death of being separated from your own namesake. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's too easy. Duh. But we're on the other side of it now. So we can comprehend this a little bit more rationally. If someone would have told me this 2 years ago, I'd have been like, that makes sense. I probably wouldn't have done anything about it. But now I'm like, I'm literally hyper-focused because I do not like the direction of the hologram that has been provided for us. I do not like the movie I'm sitting in over here. And so I would like to get up out of this movie theater and walk into the hall. I want to smell the popcorn and I want to regroup, take a breath, and choose what movie I go into, where I am the starring role and it's happy. I don't want to be in this horror movie. I'd rather go into the rom-com where it's a happily ever after, right? That is what I choose. You are in 2023. That is what you're supposed to be doing now. All right. We all go through the separation because the incarnation of Earth experience is to go through the Adam and Eve program, the separation of gender, which is your subconscious and conscious self. And then from the separation, the desire is birthed even stronger for you to create your own world. It's like, how many times have you guys read a book or watched a movie and been like, oh, that gives me an idea for a story. I would have made it like this. I would have done the ending like this. This is your time to do that. And you do not need to take anything out there if you don't like it. Okay, if you don't like those trees out there, don't use them in your hologram. Imagination, okay, it's super important. Like I've written about 16 different definitions for the word imagination because you have to understand that that is what you are. You are literally holding your body together through imagination. Okay, held imagination is called intention, right? And so when you hold an intention, and you become it, which is your subconscious, she births it, then you live it. Okay, any of you who have had a child, you have a desire, or you don't have a desire, you have an unconscious desire, and all of a sudden there's a baby in your tummy, and it is half you. It's your pumpkin pie with pepper in it, your babies. Okay, that is the expression of manifesting from someone else's hologram and your own hologram. This is why when I tell marriages always get in trouble when they get attached to each other. Okay, so Earth is here, right? And let's say Venus is over here, but Venus is like now like in Earth's business. And so now they're trying to orbit like this, and they're supposed to be like this. Okay, unless they're in retrograde. Okay, and that's for a point, but they're supposed to stay in their own orbit. When someone gets in your orbit, it's very triggering, AKA resentment. Someone is in your orbit. You want to be in your orbit. Doesn't mean you don't want to love them, care for them, and connect with them and play with them. But really what you want is your own orbit. You want your own universe, you want your own planetary alignment, and you want your own flow. And when someone else and the third dimension says, get all up in there with someone, combine everything. It's cheaper if you live together, right? You guys save money if you have insurance. This is why you should get married. All of a sudden, you're married for the wrong reasons, and now you're in each other's business, and you pop out a couple kids, and you're miserable. because you lost your ability to create your heaven on earth first. Okay. If you do not create your heaven on earth on your own, you're going to fall in someone else's. It's like being an entrepreneur. If you do not create your own business, you're going to have to work for someone else's dream. Bottom line, it's the same story. Now, those of us who are entrepreneurs know that we literally have to walk through the fire of our shadow of death every couple of years as we grow from our business models. And we have to break down old patterns, and we're constantly in a state of growth. When you work for someone else, you don't have to do any of that. When you are not building your own kingdom of heaven, you're working for somebody else, which means that someone else's hologram is going to dictate what you do, no matter how disassociated you become. Okay. So you're not going to disassociate because of suffering. You're going to disassociate because the movie you got playing is way better. See, it's like the idea of checking out versus checking in. Like, you're going to become so disillusioned by the matrix that you're going to appear delusional. All right. That's the whole point. This is why people have been killed for being delusional, because they were starting to build their own realities. So again, you guys have to make sure that these words that you're throwing out there, you're looking up. Look these words up. Look at the Latin root and biblical or Greek information behind these words that you're just projecting out, because disassociation is not a bad word. Either is manipulation. It's a totally neutral word. You're the one who's giving it meaning. Okay. You're saying, well, I don't want to disassociate. Well, if you don't, and you have nowhere better to go, then where are you going? You're going into the void, and the void is scary. So you'll end up back in someone else's hologram. Okay. You will end up in someone else's hologram if you do not build your own. Now, you're going to build this with a win-win in mind, which means that you cannot play from any of your third dimensional rules. None of your third dimensional rules. Like, every time Luke finds money, he tries to give it to me. He's like, I don't need this. Like, he doesn't need that to be abundant. Mom, here, I found some money. Like, he's not like, oh, I'm going to need this at some point. Like, he's still in his disillusion, right? That his abundance comes from just his existence. Whew, thank goodness, right? Some kids at his age, although he went through a period where he stole money, but I think that was just to get his power back somewhere. It was like, I don't even know why, I just took this. Like, and then he tries to give it to me, you know? So you have to understand, in the mind of a child, you're not going to follow the rules of pretending. All right. You're not going to follow any of those rules out there, which means how you say it goes in your own disillusioned heaven on earth is the way it goes. So if your kid is not a drug addict in your story, he's not a drug addict. Okay. If you are not estranged from your kid in this, then you are not estranged from your kid. Right? If you don't have this illness in this story, you won't have this illness in this story. Your own disassociation is actually what's causing the illness, because you don't have anywhere better to go. So your body's like, the only thing we can do is completely destroy this thing and start over. That is what disease is. It's your attempt to start over. Because in every other incarnation, you've been looping in here. You forgot to get to the Christed consciousness because you got caught up in someone else's bullshit train wreck story. And then you lived their reality, and then you died, and you were like, now I got to do this again. We don't have to do that anymore. We're at the 5th and 6th stage of the ascension of the earth process, which means we can die and resurrect embodied as many times as we want here to get it right now. You don't have to keep dying on the cross, getting hung, you know, getting slayed by this dragon. You don't have to get burned alive, witches. You can literally go, all right, this isn't working. I've got to kill this, which means that I have to kill all of my attachment to it. And I have to create from a brand new place. And I'm going to read you a quote that I have literally is my favorite quote of all time. It should be handy, hopefully. Hopefully. I had it last night. Here it is. It's very simple, and I know you've heard it a million times, but hopefully you'll hear it different. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but building anew. Socrates. Okay. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a reality from lack, or you're trying to build a reality half from you and half from that. Ain't gonna work. This is why you get stumped in your imagineering work, because you're like, oh, but he doesn't like that house. Well, we can't move there. You see how you're including, like, oh, I really want to live in Montana, but my sister's allergic to pollen or something. And then so you don't do it. So you don't include it. And you're like, well, in my Montana house, my sister doesn't have that freaking allergy. Hello. Total disillusion is where we're heading. Total disillusion. You have your cake and eat it too. You're God, for freak's sake. Your I am, your root chakra is the micro of the macro. I am God is I am real. And God, I'm really God. That's what your root chakra says. So if you are not commanding and playing and creating wizardry all day long, 51% of the day, then you're going to live someone else's reality. Bottom line. Gospel of Thomas Decode is a consciousness and subconscious universe reality consciousness. Exactly. Okay. Your everything, the game of the holographic earth is the game of gender. And this is why the game is starting to go very asexual, because it's trying to distract you from you're using your separation into unity. All right. It's like, oh, now men can be pregnant over here. Let's teach our kids that. Now, that's part of that holographic game to get you to stop looking at your own separation as your greatest tool of unity. Conscious and subconscious mind is how you get out of hell, guys. That's all you need. Your conscious mind is your masculine, the action. What I see is what I live. Subconscious is the feeling state. She is the feeling state. She is the belly. She is the essence. She is creation. She is the grow. She grows everything there. So if my conscious mind is looking out here and like, I don't like what I see, then the subconscious mind says, I will give birth to that. Right? Because whatever you feel is what you are making in your factory. Whatever you feel. Now, not what you think. The secret is not complete, even though they really try to do the best that they can in that movie to try to tell you it's the feeling, it's the feeling. They don't tell you that the feeling might be negative and you've disassociated from it. A lot of light workers are nowhere near their bodies to feel the pain that they feel in their body. And if you don't feel the lack, you think you're actually manifesting from love, but you're manifesting from lack. And so what happens is you get more lack, like I have done many, many, many times. Okay. And then you're like, I gotta start over. How many times do you feel like you've had a death experience just in this incarnation? I've had at least 5. Okay. At least, where it's like, I'm a different person now, right? I have an ego integration, AKA he's in the back seat versus driving constantly from the directions of lack. So think about 3 things that you want right now, because we're going to be working on creating 3 things for you guys this month, because you really only need 21 days of practicing 51% of the day to not only have it realized, but you'll be living it. If you do it from a pure place, which I've not done yet. So we're doing this together. I mean, I've done a couple of little things here and there that are starting to come in. And I'm like, wow, it's not peppered. Okay. So this is the only formula of creation. This is what the Bible means. This is what all religions baseline is. And then everything is corrupted so that you think God's up here and that you cannot. I am not. So I have to try. Think about your name. You've been trying to be your name. Your entire purpose comes from trying to become your name instead of just living as if. Just living as if. And you know what? Somebody comes and they don't like what you're living. That's not your person. Instead of chasing them into their story. Well, maybe if I bend and shape myself to you, then you'll like what I've got going. Nope. You're going into someone else's world who can hold their imagination better than you can. You're living the life right now that someone else believes more than you. If you don't like what you're living. If you don't like where you're living, how you're living, what you're living, you are literally not imagining your world, so you're living in someone else's story. How does that feel? Not at all good. But I'm going to tell you what it's going to take. Only 10% of this class is going to be able to do this. And again, I don't know who or where, but that's how it works. It's always 10%. 10% is going to die for their kingdom of heaven. The rest of you will be like, well, it kind of sort of feels like it, but it's cool, right? Because what I'm going to tell you is what it's going to take for you is every single thing in your life has to change. Every single thing. Okay? The way you think, the way you speak, the way you sleep, the way you desire, who's in your life right now, who you're blaming, yeah, your hidden guilts and shames, your unfulfilled prophecies, your broken hearts. If you aren't willing to fix all of that, there's no way you'll be able to create your own reality, because it has to come from the virgin space in order to be the Jesus. I mean, I'm talking about your heaven on earth. Like if you were like, take time away, take space away, take money away, take my age away. Like if I was going to make this world exactly how I would want it to be, it has to come from a virgin place. And you have the power to purify yourself in every form, but most of you won't wait. Most of you will get caught up in what is, and most of you will, or you're married to someone who's paying your bills, and so you're going to follow what they're doing. And that makes me sad, but it is what it is. And that means I planted the seed for whenever you're ready, right? Because all I can do is plant the seed and embody my own Christ itself. That's all I can do. That's it. I can't shake you, even though I've wanted to. I've wanted to shake myself. What are you doing, Jess? Come on. You know this. You've had these coordinates for 12 years now. Jesus came to your bedroom in your 7th month of pregnancy, and he gave you all of this, and I've been just hissing it away these last 12 years because I've been kind of sort of doing it. You know what I mean? Like I've been doing it, but I've been kind of sort of doing it. But I've lived a pretty amazing life, kind of sort of doing it. And that's what I want you to remember right now, is I want you to think about what you have been able to manifest, kind of sort of doing this. Half-assing this, getting totally lost in someone else's freaking story, getting caught in the lower demonic vibrations, having entities attached to you. Look at what you've still been able to do. That's pretty badass. Because again, yes, we are about to start a vision quest. And when I say a vision quest, it is because your quest is based on your vision. And it is going to be scary at times. It's going to be lonely at times, but you are going to literally use your birthright every single day of your own abundance of what you can imagine. Because if it is money that you want, it's not hard. All right. If you guys knew like how unintelligent I am in certain areas, like how unintelligent I am, how ditzy, how forgetful, how uninterested I am in being an adult, and I have made millions of dollars. Okay. I mean, every single one of you is smarter than me in some area, bottom line. I've also manifested the right people around me who know how to do the things that I don't know how to do. That's been wonderful too. I have so much love for Julie because she knows how to be a grown-up. Okay. And I don't choose to, because if I become a grown-up, then I'm going to disillusion myself from the child who knows how to pretend. Okay. Looking at that word, pretend. It's like you go, she lied. How dare her? More people should lie. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like everybody lies so they can live in their false sense of reality. So again, this is why language is so scary for you guys, because you hear the word lie and you're like, oh, that's a bad person. You lie all the time to yourself, all the time, every day. But if you use the same definition of lie as pretend, that's not bad. So the same things that are holding you accountable in 3D, be responsible, be a good person, follow the law, follow the rules, is the very thing that is going to trap you in someone else's story. Okay? Do you have any questions yet? Anyone? We've got lots to do today. Nobody? Nothing?
Yeah, I find it funny with the be your name, because Dermot means free man, but my name's Dermot Christopher. So Christopher means bearer of Christ.
See? That's what I'm saying. And again, some of you are like, well, my name, like my daughter's name, I looked up all my kids' names this weekend. My daughter's name means Tailor. And she goes, oh, that's boring. That just means I'm a tailor. I sew things. I go, no, you weave creation. You guys have to look at your name more metaphorically than just like, you want to really dig deep. I always say, look up a little, like 3 different things. Look up your birth path number. This is all in your activity sheets. If you guys don't have those, let me know. Those should be in your dashboard, because it's a discovery session of all the bullshit you guys have been buying into. Because honestly, in order to get back to your pure imagination, you need to know who you were when you incarnated. Who was that little girl, that little boy, full of their namesake? You are your namesake, and you are here to create a world out of it. Okay? Now, part of that is going to be in service to humanity, because this is the law of exchange. You're going to be building your heaven on earth, but you're going to be also showing people the way in your own way. Okay, that does not mean you're going to have classes and workshops if you do not want that. But if your name is associated with something with Christ, then you're probably doing the work that I'm doing. All right, you're probably stuck showing someone else how to get here. But here, some of you are like, no, I'm just going to dance, and someone's going to see it, and someone's going to wake up by seeing me dance. Because when you are the Christed one, your field goes from 3 feet to 25 feet and impacts joy and abundance and creativity and imagineering to every single person, like literally a shockwave. The more pure your vibration is, the farther it reaches and impacts. Okay? You know of prophets' names who lived thousands of years ago because their energy still exists. They are gone. They are 100% with us right now because their vibration has remained. It has been included into the fabric of this unified world, even with all the darkness. Even with all the darkness, the Christed ones are walking around, feeding the homeless, right? So you're going to go on lots of different vision journeys while you create your own, because we know that when we're building a new house, that thing takes time, and we don't like to wait. So you're going to be healing the poor, and you're going to be feeding the sick, all in your imagination, because the law of exchange, half of the reasons why you guys won't build your kingdom of heaven is because you don't think you deserve it. But today we're going to build your signature frequency. I'm going to show you how to launch your own Wi-Fi. You're going to need this for every single part of your imagineering work. And it's going to be your gift to humanity and your gift to yourself, because every time that you do some imagineering work, you're going to use that imagineering work to do something globally in your imagination. So you're going to be working. You have a full-time job starting today to give the gift of that which I am to my brothers and sisters, because you cannot do this selfishly. That's not heaven. This is all about selfishness, but it's all about giving what you are creating out. Because what I know is when I did have millions of dollars, I was so generous. Like that's just part of me. Like, I want someone else to have this too. I want to feed people. I was so less judgy when I had a lot of money, because I wanted them to feel what I felt. Now, when I don't have a lot of money and I see someone else who doesn't have money, I feel what they feel. And so I go into lack, right? So you have to understand that a lot of your judgment is coming from your own hidden lack. Because if you had everything, okay, and you built it and you constructed it and you created it, you wouldn't worry about losing it. You wouldn't worry about nobody taking it. Okay. You wouldn't worry about any of those things. You wouldn't worry about the government coming and seeing you. You wouldn't worry about people judging you on Facebook, because that doesn't exist in your world. Okay. So half of the things that you do not do are coming from your lack of service. So you're going to go in service. And that doesn't mean that you're going to create a body of work like I have. You're just going to give the essence to humanity of that which you feel, because we want to put back into nature. This hologram that exists is so shitty, you guys. Don't you think that after an Imagineering session, you want to put that into the field? You will. I'm going to show you. I wanted to read you guys one thing first. Okay, so the origin of the word imagination, it comes from the word image. Okay, it also means in Latin, picture to oneself. All right, and in French, it means to picture oneself. So that's not childlike at all. It's artistic. And so that's what I'm saying is I really want you guys, these words that you keep putting out, I want you to look them up and see if you can find a non-judgmental or a very neutral definition of these words that you think that you assign good or bad. Because manipulation just means to bend energy. You're going to be manipulating energy. Okay, when I say manipulation, then you're going to go, you're doing it all the time. Okay, you're going to bend. You've got to bend the hologram in order to survive there. Bored. You're going to get very bored. And when you're bored out here, things are shaking and moving on the inside. Because we don't want to be in judgment, because then we're attached to it. We're always scared because we're attached to it. We want to be lack, then we're attached to it. Then if we're in lack, somebody out there's got to feed me. So you can't be in lack. Okay, that's why we go through all this trauma work first. You got to empty the cup. We got to start with a pure vessel, an empty cup. Go back to factory settings of who Donna was, who Karen was, before I am became I am not. If you start filling your cup with I am not, it's not fun. It's not fun. I've been doing it my whole life. Forgot to empty the darn cup first. Okay. And so that's what I've been doing this last year is emptying the cup so that it can return on its own to my birthright of abundance, which is I am. Okay. And I'm going to give you every ounce of imagination training that I have. And it's probably going to take you down a rabbit hole of finding your own stuff too. And that's beautiful. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create your signature Wi-Fi I am. So remember, you are not here to work for someone for money to exist. You're the only species on this planet who believes that you have to pay to live here. And we're going to change that today. Okay? Because you don't. In your world, hopefully. Okay? In your first chakra is the I am. Okay? Think about right now what you don't have and how you are judging yourself as I am not. I am not employed. I am not wealthy. I am not loved. I am not seen. I am not heard. I am not healthy right now. Okay. So you have to look at that and examine that and do some grief work around that because it's 100% BS. You will never fit in anyone else's reality. And that's why you're not fit. This is why you're so homesick because that ain't your world. You literally have the Christed heart. Inside of your heart is specific seeds that you have planted in there that you came to germinate and grow as the farmer, okay? And to, with your conscious and subconscious, masculine and feminine, literally be and act as if. Every single thing else is someone else's story, okay? But your brain, your body, your cells, your muscles, your guts, your feet, your hands are all playing someone else's hologram right now. So your imagination has to get bigger than your motor skills. Okay? So you might not even be able to do this today because you may not know who you are. You may need to sit on this for a week. Well, who am I? Who am I without the suffering? Who am I without the stories? Who am I without? So to figure out who you are, if you don't know who you are or if you do not know what you want your world to look like right now, it is because you're still heavily attached to someone else's. And it might be out of resistance. So you might need to go do a meditation first and unattach before even the truth of who you are starts to come in. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that you know who you are just for today's session so I can give you some homework. Okay. And your first chakra is I am real. I am here. Right? I am God. I am alive. And what that blueprint of your reality is the body that you have, okay? And the community that you sit in, the home that you live in, the car that you drive, the money in your bank, and the intimate relationships around you. That is your root chakra. Okay? So look around there. What would stay? What would go? Okay? So your job is to come up with a story or a vision or an imagination of what the perfect scenario is here. Where do you live? What does your body look like? Who are the people around you and how are they treating you? How are you treating them? Okay? What is your scenery? What is your environment? What is your community like? What is your economic structure? The I am is the story. Okay? It's like the story. Like when you were born into that house with those parents, and that's the story you're born into. So you got to create your story now. What does that look like? What's in your bank account and how did it get in there? Hopefully you're not working too hard for it. Okay? If abundance is your birthright and your abundance is imagination, what do you choose? You don't have to follow any of the 3D rules. Well, I got to work and pay a 401. What? Why? Why? No. Literally, you could be like, I get paid to play. Good. Now you got to believe it. Okay? And you'll get there. You'll get there because we're going to use every form of frequency to basically like disillusion our body from the hologram, because your body is so attached to this story out here, you guys. Your bodies are so attached to this hologram because of the fear. Okay? So you have to let go of the stories of money out here. Let go of the stories out here and be like, what do I want to have? What do I want to create? Okay? Where do I want to live? How do I want to live? What reconciliation do I want to have? How do I want my partner to be in this story? How do I want to be towards my partner in this story? Okay, how do I want my kids to be in this story? Right, that's your I am. I don't care if you take a whole week working on that one. Okay, but for shits and giggles, I'm going to give you the whole thing today, and hopefully this is what you start spending all of your time doing, minus paying bills and brushing your teeth out there. Okay, because if you can get living in here more than you live out there, then you'll start to see this be a reality. Okay, this is not a 2-minute a day process. This is 51% of your day. So yes, you're going to get very delusional, hopefully. Okay, number 2, creativity, right? So you can leave intimacy out of it until you clear more of your intimacy roots. But right now we're going to be like, what do I, if I have this house and I have this partner and I have this scenery and I have this body and I have this health and I have this money, what do I want to create? You don't want to create from lack. You want to create from having every single bit of abundance. What do you create from the biggest playroom you can imagine? What do you create from bank accounts that are overflowing? What do you create from lots of fun people? Don't create from lack in your second chakra. Create from too much abundance. Okay? Third chakra. If I have everything I've ever wanted and I'm creating even more experiences of that, what do I do with my days? What am I doing with my day? What would I be doing right now? I sure as hell wouldn't be in this class. Okay? I would be doing something awesome. What would you be doing? What would you be doing with abundance and safety and health and freedom? What would you be doing? Well, that's your demonstration frequency. Okay? Because you have everything you've ever needed, what would your heart be feeling? When you get to your heart, what would your heart want to express because of all that is? What would your heart do right now? What would your heart say right now if it had everything it ever wanted and it was doing and it was living and it was creating and it was existing in this unified space of Eden? What would your heart be feeling? Probably that you want other people to feel that. Maybe. Okay? Then you're going to go up to the throat, the expression. What would you say? What would people say back to you in this perfect town? What would people see in you? What would you see in other people? What would your conversations be like? Right? You want to imagine these conversations. You want to imagine people going, you know what? You are an amazing cook. Why, thank you. Right? You are so adventurous. I know. This is your expression. Okay? Are you going to move up? What else do you want to see? Right? Well, maybe I want to start seeing what else is out there dimensionally. Maybe I want to see past the perfection of what I can create. Maybe here is where I want to see for other people. Who knows? By the time you get to your crown chakra, it is I am embodiment of Christ. Like I am God. Like I am complete. Every one of my heart's desire is on my playground. Every one of my heart's desires is in my playmates. And I am living as my I am. Now you can see why you've been manifesting incorrectly. Every one of your chakras has been from lack. Okay? So if you do it like this, right, and you get all of these, write them down, picture them, it can change, assign a different song for each chakra, non-verbal, okay? Try to use music. We did this in warrior training that you've never heard before. This will allow you to be in a new universe. It will not take you time traveling back to 7th grade, okay? You want new, pure, high vibe. Music that sounds like home, music that sounds like creativity, music that sounds like demonstrating, music that sounds like love, music that sounds like expression, music that sounds like vision, music that sounds like God. Find 7 songs, okay? Now, this is a 21-minute process. I would recommend you do this at least once a day. Then once you get this down like completely, and I'll show you how to do it in a minute, you can turn it into a 3-minute process, pick one song that is a symbol for all of it, and do that as many times a day as you want, okay? But first, you have to anchor in your true I am, which means when you start in the root chakra, you are lacking nothing. No thing. No education, no money, no time, no health issues, nothing. Your most perfection of your own existence is what you create in your root right now. And from that, well, what do you do? What do you say? What do you be? How do you feel? Your root is where the magic is, because that's the seed. It's been in your heart since you were a little tiny girl, and you just never been able to express these things. Okay? And this is why your life is, it's not where you want it to be all the way. It's a little bit, but it's bittersweet. Okay? You might not be sitting in the body you want. You might not have the money that you want. You are here to play as God in human form. It was like the most exciting reason to come to Earth, to taste, to touch, to feel, not to be hungry all the time, not to be in judgment all the time, not to be envious, right? You are not acting as the Christed one when you are envious or when you are starving for love or attention, okay? So does this make sense? So you're going to start here. If you need to spend a whole week in your root, do it. If you need to study other stories, if you need to go back to your favorite movies, if you need to do some imagineering work, you guys, if your imagination isn't strong, then you can play imagination games like when you're driving, say, okay, I need to find 4 things the color red, and then look for 4 things red. All of a sudden, you're going to see 25 things red because what you see is what you get. You're going to be like, well, that's why I manifested seeing that, because I thought of that. Okay. Oh, what would it look like if we had 4 eyes? These are the 7-year-old questions. What would it look like if we could breathe underwater? What would it feel like? And you ask yourself the question, and then you imagine some random thing. This will start working on this muscle that you're not working out enough, which is your imagination muscle. Okay. So if you are like, I can't imagine my root, I can't imagine my perfect world, then go play brain games, imagination games for a few days. What if gravity stopped for 2 minutes? What if the sky was red? And then imagine it. Because what it's going to do is it's going to start moving that muscle. Oh, we got to work. Because some of you were taught to shut that shit down when you were a kid. Okay. And so when you start to open up your imagination, you've literally got a warden and a padlock on there. So you're going to have to go very neutral in your muscle work. Your heavy lifting is going to come from neutral imagination games. But most light workers, we live in our imagination. So this is easier unless you're attached to people, places, and things out there. That's the only reason it's going to get hard is if you're attached to something out there. Or if you think that your sister doesn't want to live in Montana and your new world is in Montana. You will change her mind. The reason why is because you're changing your world, so you're going to get a different version of her. You guys, this is a real parallel reality that you're pulling from. This is not make-believe. Okay, this is imagination of consciousness. You're just on someone else's timeline. You're just on someone else's hologram. And in order to get to the one that you created, right, where everybody wants to be there, okay, then you got to start being there. How you quantum leap is to live there vibrationally first, energetically first, and then it materializes. Okay, this is basic quantum physics here. So as you move up here, okay, you're going to do two last things. You're going to do two more things before you close this meditation system, this meditation time. Okay, 3 steps of Imagineering, and this is just the beginning, you guys. Like this is the beginning. After you've had this 21-minute experience with spending at least 3 minutes each song, 2.5 minutes. It might not take 21 minutes, maybe 18 minutes. Whole song living. Okay, I don't want you to just look around and be like, look how pretty my world is. I want you to be doing laundry. I want you to be gardening. I want you to be like having dinner at the dinner table, like actually moving the energy of this, because then your body's going to get involved. The muscles are going to be like, oh, we're making dinner. Okay, you can't just be like, look at that beautiful house. You have to be living in that house, in your vision. Okay. And having the peace, having the bonfires, having the stories, having the stage presence, whatever you need. Okay. When you get to creativity, who are you creating with? What body of work? Are you at a book signing? Are you doing a TED Talk? Where are you? Okay. When you get into the demonstration, like, how are you showing up? How are people showing up to you? Visualize the action of the beingness, the character in demonstration. You're watching the actors on the screen, but you're not playing third person. Do not watch yourself. Be yourself. Do not be third person. Be the one gardening. Feel the dirt in your hands. Smell the flowers. Engage all of your senses in it. What would this smell like? What would this taste like? You want to engage everything in. The music will help because the music will soundtrack you. It'll raise your vibration and put you into the essence of it. Okay? The music is going to be your biggest game changer because it's going to take you on the emotional journey. That's why you want a song that feels like home, and a song that feels like creativity, and a song that feels like power and demonstration, because that will help you soundtrack your vision and wake up your imagination. It fires you up. You know, you get to the gym and you're like, headphones on, I can do this, right? Same thing. Okay, you're working this muscle. So as you get to the top, you probably will be crying right now because you will be in so much joy of this is me. This is the real me. This is who I've always been. You will have tears of joy probably by the time you get here. Because I will tell you, most of your programming is these lower chakras here that are in someone else's hologram is the first 3 chakras. Someone else's root, right? Family tree. Okay. So you'll really start to move the energy here. You'll have probably releases. Let yourself. The joy that you feel, I want you to share this. So as you get to the top of I am God and you remember who the hell you are and what you're capable of, I want you to imagine bringing that energy down from the cosmos into the crown, all the way down into the root. And I want it to be your tailbone, not your toes. Tailbone, okay? Get that kundalini energy really ripened from your root. And then I want you to imagine with all of the joy and all of the love that you feel for everything that's going on in this beautiful little town you're creating here in this beautiful world, that you're going to grow roots that touch the ends of the world. And I want you to imagine these roots going through the oceans, through the mountains, through the valleys, get to the end of the planet from all different directions, because you want every single person to feel what you feel right now. Trust me. This is your giving your work back. Okay? This is your disciple work. This is your, trust me, this is going to balance all your karma too, so that you can actually manifest this. You're going to give the whole world everything you feel. Now, third step. This is the game changer. This is what I did to manifest my first $1 million. Okay? Minus the shit I forgot. But here you go. So last part. Okay? You're feeling just like perfect. You're feeling complete. You're feeling generous. You're feeling in joy. You're feeling in love. You're feeling satisfied. You're feeling relief. You're feeling all of these high vibration, gratitude. Okay? And because you're in so much gratitude, you will be disconnected from any pain in relationships that you have right now. So I want you to then, in this very loving, Christ-like space of giving out the feeling, you're sharing this feeling with the whole world. I want you to go to your nemesis. I want you to go to the parent that abused you. I want you to go to the sticky ickies. I want you to go to any certain person or place that has any sort of negative, lower energy attached, a memory, a person, a place, a thing. You do one at a time. You think about from this perfection of space, of completeness, of satisfied, of love. Think about what this person really needs right now, or why they were acting the way they were. Say they stole something from you. Okay, what would make someone steal? They're hungry. They're starving. What if you could plant a seed in their heart, go to their soul, completely invisible, and plant something in their heart? What would you give them right now in this space of perfectionism of self? Would you give them a seed that connected them to source? Would you give them a seed of prosperity? Would you give them the seed of abundance? Would you give them the seed of imagination? Would you give them the seed of connection? Would you give them the seed of their soulmate? What bad behavior comes from the absence of love? And right now, all you are is love. So you have infinite seeds to share. And by going to those that have hurt you, going to the ones you have hurt, this might change in every meditation. Sometimes it might be this person. Sometimes you feel nothing for this person. I'm talking about you'll feel the slight charge of just a slight disconnect where this person is not feeling great to you, but it doesn't feel bad because all you are is love. You can just feel that they don't feel good. Okay. So you're going to plant the seed. You're going to literally imagine, after growing roots and roots and roots that cover the planet, that now you are going to sneak into their house and while they're resting or sleeping or crying or yelling, they cannot see you. I want you to walk up and put a seed into their heart of something that you truly believe that they need for behaving the way they have behaved. Okay. This can be a boss. This can be an ex-girlfriend. This can be whatever. You could literally put a seed of a hug in something. It's like they just need a hug. Whatever you feel inspired and imagineering in that moment is what I want you to plant. Because what this is going to start to do is it's going to start to unattach you from your cords that you have with lower vibrational relationships that are sticking here. Okay, so you're doing three major things. You're creating your own world and you're living it, you're being it, you're breathing it, you're seeing it, you're feeling it. Your second one is to give it to everyone else so they can feel exactly how you feel right now. And your third one is to go to the darkest parts of your reality, of your memories, of your pedophiles, of your molesters, of your abusers. And I want you to give them what they were lacking that made them behave that way to you. You're basically giving them forgiveness and unconditional love and salvation. You, as the Christed one in this moment, are giving them gift. I did this to Satan the other day. I was like, he just needs his mama, right? Like, that's what I really felt. And that's why he's so mean to kids. It's like, he just needs his mama. So I planted the biggest seed I could create. And I walked up and I put it right into his heart. And I then imagined him crying. Why not? Why not? If I am imagining my entire world and I have imagined $1 million from basically not being smart enough to make it, then I could imagine that. And who knows, maybe that would work. But guess how I feel after I do it? I don't feel like a selfish person that's building a new world, letting this rest of this world burn. I feel like someone who's creating my own reality and inviting other people in to this magic and sharing what I feel, sharing the bounty of my harvest. And then those that are very hungry, I literally make a special trip to their house. This takes me about 21 minutes. I will tell you, if you do this every single day, and then you start impressing this world more in your everyday life, right? So if you hate your house, you better clean up that relationship, because you want to be bored by your house and live in your fake house that's not real yet. It's real, but it's just in your imagination. It's in your abundance, okay? Your abundance is your imagination. You guys, I have had houses buy for me. I've had cars. I've had zero credit. I've had all kinds of things gifted to me through this 7-step process. You do not need funding, capital, money, credit, education. You do not need help. All you need is to imagine exactly what you want, how you want it as completed, no lack. Because all you are is giving it. All you are is nature, right? You could walk out right now and a tree could provide shade for you. It's like nature is just abundance, and nature is your uniqueness of your namesake. Okay, how does everybody feel about this? Exciting? Okay, any questions on this? We have a lot more to do, but I want you to get this, because this is your Wi-Fi. Okay, you know how like you go to a house, oh, what's your Wi-Fi? What's your password? Okay, so there's two things that give you access to someone's Wi-Fi, unless it's free and open, which is what you're doing when you're empathically bleeding out. You're open, but you want to have a password on this, and the password is the music. Okay, the password is going to open up the signal for you, and your I am is your Wi-Fi. So that's like your router. And then your password is going to be music. I've done this without music because then I can get the music in my head. But in the beginning, when you guys' imagination for creating your own unique world is rusty, because your imagination might be good, but you're going into scenario thinking of shit you shouldn't be thinking about. Like you should never be thinking about worried about bills again. Because in this world, you don't have bills. So in this world, if you have bills, you go, oh my God, I cannot wait to pay the bills from this. I cannot wait to share this out here, which won't exist anyways, because I'm telling you guys, you're literally going to build a new world. This is what this whole prophecy has been about. This is what you came for. You did not came to just help humanity and then, oh, good, I'm out of here. No, you came to embody heaven on earth in human form. Okay, your DNA says it. So do you have any questions about this 7-step meditation that's in 3 parts? Remember, you're going to go into the I am of completeness, and then you're going to act as if, bring it down as a really strong energy from your spinal cord out, grow roots, make them grow, make the energy of how you feel go through them. Okay, reach the ends of the earth, and then go specific to the ones who need it the most. Okay. Sorry on the bus. Can I do this now? Do not do this now. I'm just giving you this class. I highly recommend that you do not half-ass this. This needs to be the most important thing that you do with your life right now. And I am not saying that because it's my work. I'm saying that because it's only getting worse out there. Okay. This is 80-20. 80% living vibrationally, 20% inspired action. See, the inspired action will come when this starts to take roots. When your reality starts to take roots, then you're going to start getting inspired action to like, oh, I need to call so-and-so, or, oh, this person wants to buy me a house. How wonderful. Your job is to not take the low-hanging fruit that's going to start presenting itself right now that kind of sort of looks like this. Okay? Because you're going to, as soon as you start to build your I am energy, then those booby traps are going to start going off in the matrix. And all of a sudden, something that kind of feels like what you want is going to show up. Now, if you haven't done this 21 days and you haven't been living 51% of this, do not take the bait. I don't care how exciting it is. Say, oh, thank you, I'm going to entertain that. You don't reject it, but do not dive into it, because then you'll stop doing all of this and you'll completely engage into that when you are not your I am yet. This is reformulating your I am. Do not take the bait of what's going to show up in the next few days, because it will. Jobs, money opportunities, Clients. Now, I'm not saying don't take the clients if they're coming in or the job opportunities, but don't be attached to it. And if it takes too much of your energy away, so you stop doing this, you have to start over. Because that is designed to be a distraction of your imagination. I call it scenario thinking in warrior training. When you have to go, all of a sudden you see something out there and now you're using your imagination to manifest incorrectly. Because anytime you take a thought and you turn it into a story, you're using your imagination. Okay, now you're overthinking and you're adrenalizing your whole system, which has made this addicted to that. Cortisol, adrenaline, estrogen, this is everything quantum fitness is to basically deprogram you from the matrix so you can create your own world of pureness. You are the Virgin Mary, even you, Dermot, all right? Because the seeds are perfection. They have never been tainted. But see, you tried to manifest them without having all the work done, and you got it bittersweet, okay? That's the only thing we've done wrong so far. We've been practicing this, but we've been doing it from a lack of I am, and we've been doing it from I am not. All right? Everybody got that? So next week, I'm going to give you even more. See, by the time we get through a couple more of these classes, you're going to have your 51% of the day. Because we're going to change wine. We're going to change water into wine. Okay? By charging all of your liquids. All right? Which you're 70% water. You can start doing it now. Like take a bottle of water and write one of your dreams on it. Okay, this one says compound. Funny story. Okay, I've never met anyone personally who had the compound that I want. Right, I want my own little like market in there. Like I want it like a town. Okay, my compound. I get a new client 2 days ago. She has 10 kids. They have a family compound. So of course I'm like, tell me everything. I want to know what you guys do. First person. So you see it's starting to come in. No jealousy. No envy. I was like, tell me everything. I was so excited. A year ago, I'd have been like, damn it. I got a client. She's got what I want. That would make me feel bad because I am not. But see, now I am. And so now I'm starting to get the evidence that it's getting closer because it exists. Oh, she has it. I can have it. It just told my ego to believe it. You see? So it's like, this is going to be a process. Do not rush this. You do not want to rush creating worlds. So you see, we're doing this in 7 process. God created the earth in 7 days. Everything we're doing is perfectly on point with the Bible, even though I haven't read it for more. I'm downloading the new gospel, guys, and this is what I'm getting. So, but we're not doing it with, jacked up family members and like guilt and shame. We're going to do it the right way. Okay. All right. That's all the time I have for you. So ladies who are in the Divine Feminine class, you're going to get something else today. So those of you who are in both classes are going to get literally like the back and front and sideways training of all this. Absolutely. I will see you guys soon. Good luck. Love you. Bye.